Hello. So welcome to our Coffee and Learn. This is a monthly format. We do this every month because we want to talk about the latest trends and of coaching and in the L&D industry. Usually they are HR people and coaches who are joining us to learn more. So we're very excited to have you here today. As you know, LEARNTEC took place this week. So this week, this is our main topic, the must-knows, trends, and learnings from LEARNTEC for HR leaders. Without further ado, I would like to just let you know who our speakers are today. We have Hendrik Schriefer and Simone Mählmann. I'm going to pin them in a bit. And maybe ladies first, Simone, would you like to tell us maybe your favorite lunch dish, because this is a lunch and learn now, and a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, of course. So hello to everybody. Really nice to see you, and faces I already know. Nice to have you here today. So I'm Simone, and my favorite lunch dish is actually, I just said, I think I also like late breakfast with coffee and just Vollkorn bread and cheese. But when I have the possibility to meet friends or colleagues or clients, I love to have like Asian food because it's light and you have vegetables and everything and feel energized to work afterwards and not tired as other foods. So this is my favorite. This because it's lunchtime today. And about me, I joined Sharpist in the end of last year as a director customer advisory. And I just love to learn from you, from clients, and support also with my expertise in coaching and learning and development. As I'm a coach myself and have worked in the HR consultancy many years before I joined Sharpist. And I think this is the 5th Coffee and Learn, and it's just amazing how diverse the groups are who join us. And I'm really, delighted to be here with you today. And we have some people, not only Svi, Hendrik, and I, who were attending the LEARNTEC. So please bring in your own insights, and let's have a really vivid discussion here today. Thank you.
Very cool. Thank you. And Hendrik, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself and your favorite lunch?
Yeah, sure. Very happy to be here. I'm actually streaming in from the Sharpist kitchen. I thought this is kind of fitting. So you see, we have Mate and Flensburger. Let's see whether we get to this later over the day. For lunch, I'll share with you my backup lunch, actually, because I just had it. I think 6 pieces of it is Kinderschokolade, which we have in the Sharpist freezer. So if you haven't tried it out and you're not vegan because it has milk, like put it in your freezer. It's a good hack because I didn't get to lunch today. About me, I'm Hendrik, co-founder, CEO at Sharpist. We co-founded the company around 5 years by now ago. We'll have our birthday party on July 19th, right? So, yes, okay. Amazing. Also looking forward to this. I'm a psychologist by education, studied psychology in Munich and something similar in Oxford. And from that, together with my co-founder Fabian, ventured into Sharpist because as you hopefully all know that you're here, for us it's all about awareness, and we try to find ways that empower people to lead a more self-aware career and life. And I'm really, really happy to see that we can do this with Sharpist, and that we can do this because of the coaches that we could gather around us, more than 1,000 coaches by today. And I'm particularly excited to be talking about LEARNTEC today, because I think also there you could really see how important this contribution around awareness is for the broader scheme of learning and learning technologies.
Amazing. All right, so what's going to happen now is I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass it on to Hendrik and Simone to drive the conversation for us. I will just be looking at our chat, so if anybody has any questions, just feel free to pop in. All right.
Yeah. I really love, Hendrik, that you were just creating a kind of LinkedIn story around the LEARNTEC the last couple of days. And you started in the beginning of the week with your hypothesis that the majority of vendors would position themselves around the topic of artificial intelligence. And now I'm kind of addressing you, but to make it more exciting for everybody, I really like to invite all of you to give your guess courses. So what do you think, what were the biggest topics at LearnTech those days? Just write it in the chat and we will jump into it.
I'm also super excited for the answers, so I'm not going to say anything for now. Already leaned out with that bet on AI. Let's see what people believe. We have many AI seconding this. Wow, 3 people, Zhao, Marcus, Caroline, all saying AI. AI and coaching. Anyone more dares? Maybe somebody different than AI? Somebody wants to have a more controversial opinion?
Okay, so everybody's bet so far is on AI, boring LMS, immersive interactive experiences. I think those are the ones who might be there the last couple of days. I think that Gernot, I met you there, and Sarah, I think you raised that you had been there. Yes. Okay. Yeah, this was a bet. And I think everybody, we see it here too, was expecting this in a way. So Henrik, was some more comment talking about time and dishes. I wonder if this experience about the most requested learners' time for coaching. Are they early birds, bruncher, or night owls? Okay, it's a little bit off topic, but still we can come back to this. So regarding LearnTech, you got this bad, but what did you perceive as biggest topics, Hendrik?
Yeah, super fascinating, right? Like maybe let's even take a step back, right? About the claim of LearnTech. They are saying it's the largest learning technologies conference in Europe, right? And first and foremost, I was super surprised that it's such a German event, right? We had our dear colleague Alex from South Africa working with us there, Luca from Hungary, and I think most of the conversations, however, were in German, right? So sometimes Alex said, "Oh, it's fascinating that Afrikaans is not so far away. I can at least understand a little bit of German." So I think that was like a big realization for me, and I started wondering, really, like, is Karlsruhe the sort of the center of the world when it comes to learning technologies or not? So yeah, I'd probably rather say no. And I think now let's go towards topics. Indeed, like Gernot, I think you've been there, right? So it really everything was learning management systems, right? I think that was truly fascinating to experience, because even there, then you had sort of like a center around Cornerstone, right? Which I think most of the organizations are using. And so, yeah, it was by far the most dominant topic when you were pondering the different booths. And at least with the exception of one talk that I attended, I think not a single time anyone came around the corner with AI, which I found really fascinating. Looking at like the internet, where everything seems to be around AI and how AI is going to change everything we do, including learning, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was also my observation. And Gernot, you mentioned it too here in the chat, that the learning management system vendors were really prominent, especially in the everything about learning. I mean, it was for universities, schools, and business. So in the business area, it was almost everything about learning and management systems. So this was a surprise for me too, but still, I mean, as it is like this at the moment, what could be the pros and cons using it still and in the future? And what could be the trends, or what discovered you as trends in terms of learning and management systems, Hendrik?
Okay, the pros and cons of using an LMS, you mean? Just that I caught this right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I found it like kind of funny almost, right? I think so what's the promise of a learning management system? I think it's ideally like gathering and organizing learning and like in a central place for the organization. That's one. And then there's this like very gray corner of compliance, which we all require in our organizations, I believe, right? So when it comes to security trainings, be it data security or worker security, or like maybe even equality trainings, which I think is an up and coming and important topic. You just have requirements that you need to fulfill, and so that's where I think a system can just be a very good way to track whether your people are making the progress that they are supposed to make. And you can even assess whether they are making the right learnings, right? So we here at Sharpist, for instance, used a very small version of a learning management system, I believe, when it came to our data security training. And that was really powerful because we could see the exact progress that people were making and make sure that they would have just the progress that they require. That said, however, I think then it's what I'm really fascinated about is that the switching costs of a learning management system, if you're a large organization like the ones we work with, right? Like think of an Airbus, think of a Porsche, for instance, probably those choose from two, right? They have either in place Cornerstone, which we mentioned already. I bumped into this lady of Roche, actually. We were playing a bit of a guessing game. It was like, okay, we have Cornerstone. And then we had our colleagues around and we said, okay, what do you think? What could be the other one? And she immediately said, yeah, of course, SAP SuccessFactors. Those are the two. Those are the two. And then I think you have 20 learning management systems around. And now, however, you have those massive switching costs, right? You have all your learning content already imported there. You have your libraries there. You have your learning journeys and processes that you've designed. You have your assessments, you maybe have it integrated with your performance and appraisal. So what really left me wonder is what is the future for those new and innovative interventions and innovative solutions? Because yes, maybe they have better search, better organization, better, more exciting ways to interact with content, but will the large organizations, those ones that really everyone wants to work with when you're a younger company, will those really make the switch? And my prediction, unfortunately, actually is no. I would predict there will be a fairly massive consolidation in the market where a lot of players will actually not exist in the future anymore. And maybe some of the more exciting, more innovative tools will just be swallowed by a Cornerstone, for instance, in the future.
Yeah, thank you for your insights. I mean, we were also talking about the phenomenon like Netflixing of learning and Spotifying of learning. And this is what you're just describing. It's the really strong kind of dependency and buy-in of this business models of the LMS vendors, that it's really a risk of lose things when you switch. This is like Spotify, where you love to have your playlist, and this kind of strange security, which is maybe not, because we were discussing it earlier, that learning is about leaving your comfort zone and not being in it, like zooming around, what could I watch next and what is nice, and give me some insight, because this is the easy way, and it's maybe good sometimes, but not every time you want to learn something new. And mainly it's about engagement. Yes, we want to engage our people, or our clients want to engage their people, because they know, especially in times of big transformations, that they need to engage and retain their employees. And one thing is to do it with a strong learning culture. So what do you think, Hendrik, is the core driver of increasing people engagement?
Yeah, I want to double click even more, again, a little bit on this topic of Netflix, right? I think that's a fascinating one, right? Because Netflix is what you do on your couch, right? And when you learn new vocabularies or you dive into new topics, maybe you do that on your couch, your balcony, as well. But what this really is creating in all those technologies like Netflix, actually also like LinkedIn or Facebook, they are creating echo chambers, right? And you do not learn in an echo chamber. You really learn in an environment where you spark new ideas, where you can get new perspectives. So I think that's one, but that's definitely not the solution, I believe. Now, and what I find fascinating, what you said around engagement, however, is really that's what everybody wants, right? We know that our client Porsche wants to have a culture of learning, right? Like every single one of our large enterprises believes that the core driver of the transformation which they are going through is learning. It's having a learning culture where people, as you said, Simone, leave their comfort zone and grasp new topics. Now, how many organizations, at least when you went to LearnTec now, I think they might address this, is by introducing new tools. And like, so you have a big need, engagement, like putting people into new, maybe uncomfortable situations. And you believe the solution to this is a tool that's designed to be comfortable, like Netflix, for instance. And however, then actually for decades, if not centuries, I believe we've all actually figured out how to drive engagement and learning. If we did the experiment in this group, I believe everyone could point at least one teacher in the high school or primary school years even that had a transformative effect on them, right? For some people, it's the math teacher, somebody that's the most dreadful person also in their lives. For me, actually, it was my professor in developmental psychology. I had no idea about developmental psychology, but what she told me was, Hendrik, you need to understand that psychology is just a hobby. You're just studying this for fun. You are an entrepreneur by heart. You will found a company. She told me that age, I think 21. So she's completely transformed the avenue that I went onto. She has put me out of my comfort zone with just that comment. So how does that root now to the question, Simone, that you made? How can we drive engagement? I think engagement is created through human connection. That's what we are all longing for, and through guidance that comes from that human connection. So it's really those tutors, professors, or coaches specifically that we need to empower to make their jobs as effectively as possible, so that we can have engaging, purposefully uncomfortable learning experience for our employees and the people around us.
Yeah, I mean, this was part of your bet at the beginning of the week when you said, okay, we will kind of stand out because we are not focusing on AI, because we're saying transformation needs the connection between human beings. But still now we discover that it was almost about tools and methods and instruments, maybe not artificial intelligence, but about systems and instruments. So that's really interesting. And also this effects of making learning comfortable. And so what do you think it's kind of the specific offer we can make here, combining learning with coaching?
So I would almost root it back to the topic of awareness, right? So actually, what I keep learning from, we just hired a new senior leadership team member, our VP revenue, Stefan, and so I would say I'm a fairly directive leader, and so far as I have like my ideas, and I think this is how we should do it, and so I shovel stuff into his direction, and usually what he shares back is, yeah, Hendrik, I love this idea. The problem is I didn't have it on my own. So how does this now link to the question, Simone, that you have just asked? How can we combine technology with coaching? I think what's really beautiful about the coaching method, and with this, I do not only mean the interaction between a coachee and a coach, but really the, I would say, asking reflective questions, is that you put people in a mode where their mind starts discovering ideas and solutions for their own challenges and problems, so that they can make those challenges and problems their own. And that's now, combine that with technology, like learning content, for instance, it almost feels like when they are on their journey throughout their careers, they are exploratively discovering content and new ideas that they are picking up on the way, so that they can fully incorporate them. And I think that is truly powerful, because learning, and I saw something around that in the chat, learning moves away from consumption to realization and processing, which I think is really where we should put the emphasis in learning. And just the last point I want to make here, when we founded Sharpist as a company, I think we wrote an article titled something like, your mind or your brain is a landfill. And what I mean with this is how we approach learning often is it's like a funnel. And there's like all the stuff that we're about to consume, and the majority share of the time goes into putting stuff into our minds and consuming more and more information. And only the minority share goes towards processing, and even less goes towards putting what we have with processed and realized into action. I believe the funnel needs to turn upside down or basically become a pyramid, right? So targetedly consume what's relevant for you, pick up bits and pieces around, right? And then really focus the majority share on processing, realizing, and ultimately putting in action. And I think that's really where technology and coaches can work in a very nice symbiosis.
Okay, thank you very much, and also for the comments in the chat, where you also say that it's about the connection and the kind of being confronted, I think, in coaching, which just pushes us outside the comfort zone. And I mean, we are social human beings. We all know that. I'm just reflecting the last couple of days. Also, I mean, it's the focus on learning tech, of course, and not learning psychology. But being a psychologist myself, I was really wondering and thinking about Bandura again, and how you can be conditioned by learning with giving rewards in your learning processes, and yeah, just know that learning is something which happens like suddenly sometimes, and you need a lot of persistence. And so I felt myself being so much a psychologist, being confronted, and this brought me out of my comfort zone, that I couldn't really resonate with some of the things, because there was nothing being said about the interaction between human beings when you focus so much on instruments. But still, it is interesting, and maybe we zoom out again, coming back to LEARNTEC. So what were the exciting vendors you saw actually, Hendrik?
So like where do I begin? I think what I found really fascinating, I unfortunately didn't meet the vendor, but I met somebody walking by our booth that was in search for it. There seems to be those like hologram screens by now that really give you an experience. So how he described it to me is, you sit in a meeting room and it's like there's a curtain in front of the screen, and when the curtain moves away, it's almost like other people are sitting at the other side of the room. And that I found like must be a really, really immersive experience, right? Because you can suddenly so much more effectively resemble the experience of a almost then human or real humans, like synchronous interaction. So that was one. And I know, and maybe Simone, you can chime in here, like we've also been exploring different like halls there of the conference room. And I think you are really excited about what we are doing in the educational sector for children these days, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I switched halls in between. I wandered around a little bit in the hall where all the educators were presented. And I was just so having one school kid myself and one who will get in school this summer. I was just so kind of overwhelmed how different learning becomes those years. And even though I think there it was really edgy, because I mean, at the grammar school of my 9 years old, that's still like being with chalk and everything, and there were so many devices, and even the tables and desk and everything they used were exhibited there were so completely different from what we have in mind at school. And the vendors presented like tech games where you can learn and interact with others. And this resonates a lot with me, because I think, yeah, we discussed so much about the Gen Z and Gen Alpha and what other generations may come there, because everything is so disruptive and pacing so fast that I think even the description of the different generations will now switch, not in decades, but in years. I'm really sure about this. And so learning will look so much different in school, and we need to just connect with the young generation where they are, and they are in this digital world of learning and collective intelligence. And I really liked this combining good content, because everything was also about content, and good hard and software. This was yeah, really interesting insights for me.
One caveat, however, to make, I believe I bumped into somebody working in the school segment, and we were discussing actually how we could use coaching within the context of like educational personnel, right? So teachers and professors. Both my parents are teachers. And so education and conflict even with parents then in the school ecosystem and other colleagues, and so it was like sort of the conversation not only at every lunch but definitely at every dinner table. And one thing that stuck with me, and that's also what the person I bumped into would repeat, is unfortunately, specifically in Germany, right, the budgets for this in our educational system, and I believe actually also beyond, are just unfortunately so low, right? So here I'm really wondering like how we can also almost like change the game towards really making all those beautiful and wonderful technologies not just accessible to wealthy organizations out there, but and really making those accessible to those young minds that particularly could benefit from it, maybe even more than some adults.
Yeah, that's a really interesting field. And as we had been there the last couple of days, and there will be for sure a next LearnTec next year. So what should be the next big frontier in learning, Hendrik?
Let's do it like we did in the intro. I have an answer in mind, but let's gather a few comments maybe. So Simone wants to know what's the next big frontier in learning. Maybe we can see if we have some inspiring minds here already in the call that have ideas with us to share. Okay. People are checking out. That was not intended. Don't be afraid.
No, they were mentioning before in the beginning. Yeah.
So I'll just like type the question as well. What's the next? We are giving you some time to think and accept the awkward silence. We do that here internally as well a lot. And Peter says, raising efficiency through interaction and repeating.
Could you maybe describe what you concretely mean with it? This would be interesting, Jan.
That was just an impulse I'm having. Hello to everybody.
Hey.
And I can switch on the video as well, because I was having my currywurst in Germany, so that doesn't look so nice. Learning, etc., with coaching, and like we all got more or less the same background here, is we want to improve actually the capabilities of our customers. And customers can be children, can be grown-ups, can be employees, anything. And we all know that if you just read something or just hear it, you have a lower efficiency on remembering and doing and getting better. And if you write it down over the hand a little bit more, and if you repeat it constantly, it's higher. And then if you interact or even present it to some people, you will have the highest efficiency. Hence, with all learning and interaction, virtual reality and what's going on, and I wasn't able to join you on LearnTec, is how do we get people that they actually use it? And I'm just taking a step back. Lots of micro tasks from the company provided here. And I'm sure that I get the emails a lot that people use it. And then how far do they use it? Are they just clicking through, or are they taking a piece of paper and a pencil and working with it? So that's what I meant with raising efficiency through interaction and repeating. Clear? Hendrik is nodding.
Mm-hmm.
Hendrik is nodding. Yeah, I'm like fascinated because I had a conversation with somebody even about that, I think at LearnTec, who said like, yeah, I like this and I like all those KPIs that you give me and how much your dive-in rate on the content is, but tell me like how much time do they spend on it, right? Like, do they really process? Do they really make progress on their goals? And what do the coaches say the same, right? Like, so what's the outside perspective versus the inside perspective? So a lot of what you just said resonated here with me. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Jan. And I was just reminds me on our conversation, Gernot, if I might point this out here, because you were explaining your approach about empowering groups to be lecturers themselves, and this resonates with this approach of you, Jan, that if they people repeat what they just learned in interaction, and they're responsible for what they're saying. All of us has made the same experience. I guess it sticks better to your mind too. We have many other comments here, like from Sarah, helping people practice getting uncomfortable in a safe environment. So yeah. So maybe you might explain yourself a little bit more what that means for you, Sarah.
So, hey everyone. Quite often when you're in a coaching environment, people feel quite comfortable and they're okay. You've designed a space where they can get uncomfortable, where they can feel vulnerable. And we give them tools, we give them ideas to go take back into their businesses to either design relationships or, rework things. And quite often what you find is when you follow up the next time, oh, yes, it's still in their heads. They've maybe even written the notes about it, but they've not tried it out because they're scared in an environment where they haven't designed it quite so well to actually come on out and actually just give it a go. And even with this, what's the worst that's going to happen? So if we can create, to me, it's like creating immersive experiences where people can go try out some of the techniques, some of the ideas that they come up with in another safe environment that's not just in this one-to-one where they've created a very trusting relationship, then you're helping them take that first step towards it, because so often people really struggle with that.
Yeah.
I love it, Simone. That's almost what we discussed this morning, right? Simone and I were on a call discussing a project with one of our clients, where we were debating, in this case, how can we combine group? I would rather call it almost peer coaching settings with one-on-one coaching sessions. And what we realized in the peer coaching sessions, indeed, that we often had, is that there is room for vulnerability and openness, however, indeed not uncomfort. And so I think that where the lines can become blurry, purposefully so, is almost between coaching and sparring, right? So I shared the story of my coach. She's just wonderful because she throws me into the uncomfortable and in the zone of uncomfort constantly. And then we really follow up whether I went where I would go to make it a bit more tangible. I'm an introvert myself, and she was very blunt with me. And I'm not even, I would say probably not adhering to the traditional coaching method, but would say, look, Hendrik, if you want to create the organization which you want to have, you cannot always use the excuse of being an introvert for being how you are. And it's totally fine if you want to keep using that excuse. But before you move out of this coaching room now, you need to make a choice if this is so, because if you stick to it, then the organization will not change. And I physically felt the impact that this had on me. And it has really this pure sentence has really transformed me. Now, building on that, what I love to see at LEARNTEC actually was there were a few companies trying to create VR experiences that would allow you what you just mentioned, Sarah, to experience others in exchange and conversation and how they were challenging and receptive to one another, and then really give you the opportunity as an individual also to respond to that. I must say at the moment, it's still a little bit uncanny. I felt weird in that environment. However, I would say it's only just a few years, until we can indeed have those safe spaces where you can really experiment with different styles and behaviors and get into your uncomfort zone in a most positive way.
Yeah. And it's also,
can I just come in again, because actually I totally agree. If you can create these mastermind peer groups and discussions I've been having with other parts of Sharpist, because exactly this is what I think is real benefit, then you can create this live and actually give people the chance to do this in a bigger environment, so they do build the confidence. And I do think there's a massive benefit to having both the one-on-one followed by the peer group for exactly this. And obviously you can substitute it totally with the tech that's coming out right now. But it's never as effective as having real life people.
Thanks for being so engaged. We have so many other comments, maybe without going in the deep dive, because we have not so much time left. Who of you, like Martin said something, and Joao, I don't know how do you pronounce your name from Brazil? Yeah.
João.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you were referring to research. Maybe you could share a few more insights here or your perspective?
Now, we know that the learning is a science that is still in its first steps. It's not as developed as physics or medicine or the like. And I do believe there is room for improvement in the use of technology with what we already know. And I hope this is where the industry is moving towards. We as coaches work a lot with the capacity of our clients to change their minds and their behaviors and their learning styles. And we work mostly with one-to-one relationship. There's certainly technologies that could improve both of our work and in the learning space, universities, schools, and the like. So that's what I expect that LearnTec will have products in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and maybe from your side, because you were sharing 2 comments, Martin, what is it for you that will be the big frontier in learning?
We cannot hear you yet, Martin, even though you're unmuted, but we cannot hear you. No.
Okay, no, unfortunately, we can't hear you. So maybe also have a look on the time. We will just wrap up here, and we started the question on the next big frontier in learning in this group chat, and coming back to you, Hendrik, what is it for you? What do you think?
I think we can hear Martin now, so I'm happy to give him the
yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
we
perfect,
do. Okay,
loud
great.
and clear.
What I'm thinking and wondering is if coaching is a question of continuing being consistent and continuing offering coaching independently from what kind of techniques and so on are developed on time. And what I saw on my children, for example, when they played with those Pokemon cards, they learned a serious amount of information in a short time because there was a story behind they were interested in. And I think that's a question, how we create stories that people are keen to join and are keen to follow, and where they see themselves in the story itself. And when we talk about that, the story of our life is the story of our life. It's not our life. So we as coaches constantly need to re-question these stories and kind of irritate people in believing what they believe. So we can do that with the support of technical devices on the one hand, but on the other side, the instant reaction and the instant interaction with a human coach together with human learners could improve a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect segue even into my answer, right? So what I think really, when I reflect back also about LearnTec and what we've seen there, all those tools that we have experienced, or most of them, right, were fairly fragmental, right? So now we see a lot of organizations into crafting learning journeys towards a certain use case. Like, how can you be a more agile leader? How can you be a strong woman in leadership? That would be something that we hear as a use case. How can you be a strong project manager, or even functionally, like how do you use Excel in 5 steps? And I think, however, that's a too isolated perspective, because really what nobody yet seems to really have cracked is this approach of lifelong learning. But that's really what people are longing for. They long guidance throughout their entire career. This guidance maybe they get, if they're lucky, in primary school, high school, and university through the teachers, tutors, and professors. However, ever so often in the workplace, we imagine it can be offloaded on the superiors and their bosses, but it can't. Often people are really left alone when it comes to building their own learning journey within the organization, and even a journey that transcends organizations. So what I would love to see going forward is actually less isolated views on the individual path and journey, and even less isolated views on the organizations. So I think what could really be transformative for our entire industry is if we gave the responsibility for the learning journey and the tracking of it into the hands of humans. If we did not consider humans as the mere employees that they are in a given workplace, but we really empower them to take the progress, their learning and their perspectives with them, transcending different career steps, transcending different organizations. And that is really a solution that I'm still looking for. I hope that one day Sharpist can contribute to this. And so far as maybe people will take their Sharpist experience and apps from one workplace to the next one, and they have multiple coaches that they will work with. They explore different avenues into their career and actually also into their lives. But here, I think, at least at this LearnTec, I've seen very little. I project, however, that we will see much more, because I believe that's really where the power of human and technology, the power of human and AI can be really, really immersive, because already simple recommender systems, which do not need to be in any way artificially intelligent, can help you explore avenues in learning that you might not have considered before. And really now empowering coaches to give people different views and perspectives on their learning and on their career that go beyond just the next horizon. I think that can be really, really transformative, not just for the learning industry, not just for organizations, however transformative. And I know that's maybe the founder romanticism now, but I think it can be transformative to our societies. And that's really what I want to see at one of the future LearnTecs, hopefully.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Hendrik, but also, of course, thank you. I really liked it. I could continue. It's really inspiring and really a good kind of closure of these intense last days. Thank you so much. And just reach out to us if you just want to deep dive into those topics. And for now, we wish you a happy Friday and a nice long weekend. And before that, one more minute to give an outlook on the next Coffee and Learn. Thank you, Sri.
Yeah, of course. So before you drop out, this is, as mentioned, this is a monthly format. Our next one is on June 30th. We will send you an invite in your emails as well. But this is going to be an interesting one with Sonja Hartmann, who is Global Head of Leadership Development and Engagement at Bayersdorf. We're going to be talking about HR strategies for organizational transformation. So do tune in. And if not, then thank you everyone for joining us. And I wish you a wonderful weekend. Thanks for the engaging conversation. Bye.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming, everybody. And Sonja is a big one. Like really, she's one of the few HR thinkers that really bridges business impact with HR transformation. I've learned so much from her already, so I would definitely recommend this next one to swing by. And thanks for the engaging discussions with you all today.
Thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.